Ravi, misery and mystery marked this unfathomable murder case in September 2023. A family of 4 and their dogs executed at gunpoint in the dead of night.
Oh God, dogs are dead. 2 dead dogs.
Officers found a crack in the window and overturned tables inside, the first sign something was awry. Inside, Zoraida, Alberto, their 2 kids and 3 dogs shot and killed by a combined 20 bullets.
On September 17, 2023, Zoraida Bartolomei and her husband, Alberto Rolon, failed to show up for work, prompting concern among their colleagues and family members. Repeated calls went unanswered, and after multiple attempts to reach them, relatives contacted the police requesting a wellness check. Officers arrived at the couple's home in Romeoville, Illinois, and knocked on the door for several minutes. There was no response, no sounds or signs of movement from within the house. Concerned for the family's safety, officers decided to force entry into the home, leading to a horrifying discovery.
I got nothing. Moving up.
How many dead dogs you got? We got 1 dead dog right here. We got a 2nd dead dog over to the left. Watch out. Hey, why don't you check the door handle first?
Inside the house, officers found a gruesome crime scene. The lifeless bodies of Zoraida Bartolomei, Alberto Rolon, and their 2 children were found, along with their 2 deceased dogs. Investigators determined that the family had been shot multiple times. The brutality of the attack was evident. A total of 20 rounds had been fired from a 9mm pistol. With the violent nature of the crime, there were signs of forced entry. There are many indications that burglary had been a motive. The absence of stolen items, but only signs of a break-in, led detectives to believe that the perpetrator was someone the family knew or someone who had managed to stage the event. With little physical evidence at the scene, investigators turned their attention to surveillance footage and phone records in an effort to track the killer. This analysis quickly led them to a suspect, 32-year-old Nathaniel Huey Jr. Investigators uncovered that Huey was a co-worker of Zoraida Bartolomei, raising immediate suspicion about his possible involvement in the crime. His connection to the victims made him a person of interest, and detectives moved swiftly to question him. When authorities approached Nathaniel Huey Jr. at his workplace, his reaction only deepened their suspicions. He refused to allow officers to search his phone or his vehicle, an unusual response for someone uninvolved in a case of this magnitude. His evasive behavior did not go unnoticed, and investigators took note of his reluctance. As they pressed forward, they worked to gather further evidence linking him to the crime. The connection between Huey and the Bartolomei family left many questions unanswered. Why would a co-worker target an entire family in such a brutal manner? How did he gain access to the home without any signs of forced entry? Investigators pieced together the timeline of events, trying to establish a clear motive. The nature of the crime suggested something far more personal than a random act of violence. Family members, co-workers, and acquaintances were interviewed in an attempt to uncover what had led to this tragic event. As detectives worked through the case, one lingering question remained in the minds of many. How did a routine wellness check escalate into the revelation of a quadruple homicide? The swift transition from a missing persons report to the identification of a prime suspect left the community in shock. While law enforcement had their suspicions, they needed solid proof to connect Huey to the crime. What first appeared as an unexplainable tragedy was now unraveling into a targeted act. But the true motive behind the killings was yet to be fully uncovered. Zoraida Bartolomei and her husband Alberto Rolon had been married for approximately 10 years. Together, they built what appeared to be a stable and loving home. Their union was blessed with 2 young sons, Adriel, who was 9 years old at the time of the incident, and Diego, who was 7. From the outside, their family life seemed ordinary, filled with the routines of work, school, and raising children. However, beneath the surface, tensions brewed. Zoraida had been involved in an affair with Nathaniel Huey, a relationship that would ultimately serve as the catalyst for the devastating events that unfolded. On the other hand, Nathaniel Huey had his own complicated domestic situation. He had been in a relationship with Ermelinda Palomo since 2015. Ermelinda, a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 5, entered the relationship seeking stability and companionship. For her, Nathaniel initially seemed to provide that. He was also a father of 3 and was known as a hardworking man who managed his own security company, Black Bear Security. To those around him, he presented the image of someone dedicated to his work and family, a provider striving to do well despite life's challenges. However, those close to Nathaniel knew that his personal life was far from stable. His seemingly responsible exterior concealed a troubled history. In 2017, he was convicted of aggravated DUI, which resulted in both jail time and probation. This incident painted a different picture, one of a man capable of making dangerous choices. Despite this brush with the law, friends and family continued to view him as a well-meaning individual who had made mistakes but was trying to move forward. Yet, Nathaniel's personal struggles extended beyond his criminal record. His relationship with Ermelinda was repeatedly tested by his infidelity. His affair with Zoraida Bartolomei further strained their already fragile bond. Those who knew the couple were aware that Ermelinda's desire for stability often clashed with Nathaniel's behavior, which increasingly displayed signs of emotional volatility. While she remained committed to their relationship, his actions placed significant stress on their household. As investigators delved deeper into the background of both families, the complexity of their relationships became more apparent. What had first appeared as a random act of violence began to reveal a darker, more intimate connection between the victims and the suspected perpetrator. The revelation of Zoraida's affair with Nathaniel shifted the investigation's focus toward the personal dynamics that might have fueled the crime. Detectives carefully examined text messages, call logs, and witness statements, hoping to uncover the events leading up to the deadly attack. With emotions running high, the case took on a new level of complexity. The intersection of these two households, one striving to maintain a seemingly normal family life, the other grappling with turmoil behind closed doors, provided investigators with both motive and opportunity. What started as a chilling murder scene was increasingly pointing toward a crime driven by betrayal, resentment, and personal turmoil. Ermelinda's suspicions about Nathaniel's affair with Zoraida began with subtle changes in his behavior. She noticed that Nathaniel had become increasingly secretive, especially with his phone, guarding it more closely than before. His explanations for being away from home started to sound vague and inconsistent. Over time, these small signs grew into undeniable patterns. Determined to uncover the truth, Palomo began closely observing his actions, checking his phone when possible, and piecing together fragments of his digital activity. Her fears were confirmed. Nathaniel was involved with another woman. The woman was Zoraida Bartolomei. The revelation shattered Palomo. Confronted with the painful reality of Nathaniel's infidelity, she faced a difficult decision. She could leave him and walk away from their relationship of several years, or she could try to regain control. Driven by anger and a refusal to lose Nathaniel, Palomo chose the latter. Instead of ending the relationship, she sought to manipulate and dominate him. Her approach was neither direct nor confrontational. Instead, it was calculated and deceptive, setting in motion a scheme that would escalate beyond her control. Palomo crafted an elaborate web of deception using social media and text applications. She created multiple fake accounts, carefully constructing false identities. These profiles portrayed members of a dangerous Mexican cartel. Through these fabricated personas, Palomo initiated contact with Nathaniel, sending a series of threatening messages. The tone was menacing, warning him that he was under surveillance and suggesting his loyalty was being questioned. Each message reinforced the idea that his relationship with Zoraida was not only jeopardizing his own safety, but also putting his family at risk. Nathaniel's affair was portrayed as more than a betrayal. It was painted as a dangerous entanglement with deadly consequences. Palomo's messages implied that Zoraida was not merely another woman, but a spy working against Nathaniel, sent to infiltrate his life and report his actions. She wove a narrative of danger and conspiracy, playing on Nathaniel's fears and insecurities. Through her manipulation, she sought to sever his connection to Zoraida, not by persuasion, but by making him believe that his very life depended on it. Palomo's deception was not limited to Nathaniel. She extended her psychological campaign to Zoraida and Alberto. She sent disturbing messages designed to terrify the couple and create division within their household. One message to Alberto carried a particularly chilling warning. "This stupid girl will be the reason that you have no children." These communications were crafted to breed fear, suspicion, and conflict within the Bartolomei Rolon family. By destabilizing their relationship, Palomo hoped to eliminate Zoraida as a perceived threat. The relentless stream of threats created a tense and paranoid atmosphere. Nathaniel was led to believe that he was under constant observation, while Zoraida and Alberto faced growing anxiety over their family's safety. What began as a desperate attempt by Palomo to regain control had evolved into a dangerous game of psychological warfare. The lies, threats, and fear she manufactured would soon escalate into real-world consequences. Consequences none of them could have foreseen. Years of communication between Nathaniel Huey and Ermelinda Palomo had built a foundation of trust, which Palomo exploited to manipulate him. Nathaniel appeared to fully believe the fabricated threats and information she provided through the Cartel alias, never realizing that Palomo herself was the one orchestrating the deception. Their messages painted a terrifying picture. Nathaniel was being watched, his loyalty was questioned, and his relationship with Zoraida was endangering his life. On September 14, 2023, 2 days before the murders, Palomo escalated her lies. She convinced Nathaniel that Zoraida was not just an unfaithful partner, but a mole within the organization who was plotting to attack him. This fabricated betrayal pushed Nathaniel over the edge. With his fears heightened, Nathaniel began meticulously planning the murders under the influence and guidance of Palomo's cartel persona. They discussed every detail, focusing on how to avoid security cameras, stage the crime scene to resemble a burglary, and eliminate all potential witnesses. Palomo pushed him further, insisting that killing Zoraida alone would not be enough. To secure his safety, Nathaniel needed to execute her entire family. That included her husband, Alberto Rolon, their 2 young sons, Adriel and Diego, and even the family's pets. For Nathaniel, driven by paranoia and desperation, this plan seemed like his only path to survival. In the early hours of September 16, 2023, at approximately 3:17 a.m., Palomo drove Nathaniel to the Bartolomei Rolon residence in Romeoville, Illinois. She waited in the car while Nathaniel approached the home. Her role was not merely that of a bystander. She facilitated his actions, providing transportation and ensuring his escape. As Nathaniel stepped out, Palomo remained behind, acting as his lookout while he prepared to execute the plan they had crafted together. Nathaniel found an unlocked door, gaining entry without any signs of forced access. To support their staged burglary narrative, he cut window screens, creating a misleading appearance of a break-in. Inside the home, the family was unaware of the danger looming over them. When Alberto confronted Nathaniel, attempting to protect his wife and children, he was shot. The violence escalated quickly. Nathaniel turned his weapon on Zoraida, then targeted their 2 sons, Adriel and Diego. The brutal attack ended with a total of 20 gunshots. Before fleeing the scene, Nathaniel carried out additional acts to further mislead investigators. He killed the family's 2 dogs and then spray-painted the walls of the home, an effort to confuse law enforcement and add to the staged burglary narrative. These final actions reflected the calculated nature of the crime, influenced by Palomo's guidance and Nathaniel's belief that he was acting under orders from a dangerous cartel. By the time Nathaniel returned to Palomo's vehicle, 4 innocent lives had been taken, and a family was destroyed. The crime scene, intended to appear like a burglary gone wrong, raised more questions than answers. The brutal nature of the murders, coupled with the peculiar details such as the spray paint and the execution of the family's pets, would soon lead investigators to uncover the twisted plot driven by deception, jealousy, and fear. On September 18, 2023, investigators arrived at the home of Nathaniel Huey and Ermelinda Palomo in Streamwood, Illinois, seeking to gather more information about their possible involvement in the murders of Zoraida, Alberto, and their 2 children. By this point, Nathaniel had emerged as the primary suspect, and Palomo's potential role in the crime was under increasing scrutiny. Officers approached with caution, aware that both individuals could be attempting to evade law enforcement. Inside the home, Palomo greeted investigators with an air of cooperation. She claimed she had only recently discovered Nathaniel's affair and portrayed herself as a shocked and grieving fiancée, unaware of any connection to the murders. Despite Ermelinda's outwardly cooperative demeanor, investigators noted inconsistencies in her account. Her statements conflicted with the evidence detectives had gathered, raising doubts about her credibility. By September 20th, authorities officially considered both Nathaniel and Ermelinda suspects in the murders. Before investigators could detain them, the couple fled their home, traveling nearly 700 miles to Catoosa, Oklahoma. Their sudden disappearance only heightened suspicions and intensified efforts to locate them. Detectives believed they were actively evading capture and potentially dangerous. As the investigation progressed, detectives reviewed surveillance footage from businesses and public areas in an attempt to trace the couple's movements. A significant breakthrough came when they obtained security footage from a Walmart in Oklahoma. The video showed Nathaniel and Palomo casually shopping, appearing relaxed and even smiling as they walked through the aisles. This evidence undermined Palomo's claims of ignorance and distress. It painted a picture of a couple fleeing together, seemingly unconcerned about the horrific murders they were accused of being involved in. The Walmart footage prompted authorities to expand their search efforts, collaborating with other law enforcement agencies to track the couple's whereabouts. Their diligence paid off when officers located Nathaniel and Ermelinda in a Walmart parking lot in Oklahoma. Police surveilled the pair before attempting to apprehend them. However, upon noticing law enforcement's presence, Nathaniel and Ermelinda attempted to flee, leading officers on a high-speed chase through the area. The pursuit quickly escalated, ending in a violent and tragic conclusion. During the chase, Nathaniel allegedly shot Ermelinda inside the vehicle before losing control and crashing the car, resulting in a fiery explosion. Nathaniel was pronounced dead at the scene, while Ermelinda was critically injured and transported to a nearby hospital. Despite efforts to save her, she succumbed to her injuries. Investigators later obtained records indicating that Nathaniel had allegedly confessed to his mother, claiming he killed the Bartolomei and Rolon family in self-defense against what he believed to be a genuine threat. Nathaniel and Ermelinda's attorney, John Paul Ivek, stated that he had no knowledge of any conversation between Nathaniel and his mother. He admitted to having no information about who Nathaniel's mother was or what she may have known regarding the murders. With the deaths of both Nathaniel and Ermelinda, many questions surrounding the motives and precise events leading up to the killings remained unanswered, leaving a grieving family and a community grappling with the devastating aftermath. What are your thoughts on this tragic case? Do you believe Nathaniel Huey was fully manipulated by Ermelinda Palomo? Or was he equally responsible for the horrific murders? And how do you feel about the lengths Ermelinda went to, creating a fake cartel threat to push Nathaniel toward violence? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you are new to the channel and like the content, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for upcoming episodes. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you on Urban Crime Stories.